Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. Today is a tired day because my 2-year-old had nightmares last night. So it feels like the perfect day to really appreciate some post-grunge. This is going to be my first time ever hearing Candlebox, and they're apparently a mixture of grunge and hard rock, but comes a little bit later, and I'm still not sure exactly what that sound is. So let's get to it.
Now maybe did I mean to treat you bad, but I did it anyway. And then maybe some would say your life was sad, but you lived it anyway. And so maybe your friends that stand around you watch you crumble as you fall down to the ground. And then someday your friends that stand beside as you were flying, oh, you were flying out so high. But then someday people look at you.
So just some initial thoughts here on his voice. I hear a lot of twang in this sound, right? If you put this voice into country, it would actually fit. I always think that's so fascinating because country and grunge have weird crossovers in the timbre that is preferred. But we have a little more closure of the mouth overall, which really falls into grunge. There's also a really fascinating, it's a certain reverb, or there's some sort of plugin, meaning some sort of post-processing that his voice is going through that makes it seem all at once more spacious and a little more metallic. It's a bit bizarre. I'm having problems putting my finger on exactly what that is, but it does make the voice feel also just more present overall. Side note, let's go back all the way to the beginning here-ish. The beginning, which is at really 22 seconds, there was a really long intro just saying what this video was and Candlebox. I was like, wow, they're making sure we know. This is good. This is really good for tired brain today. Let's go back to the beginning-ish. This image of being at this empty swimming pool is somehow very emotionally touching, very moving. It gives the impression of, from my point of view, I think this person is looking at the pool as if it were a representation of themselves. Maybe there was the end of a relationship and they feel completely drained, or maybe there's just a lot of life that's happening and they feel completely drained. From the lyrics, it feels like it's more related to a relationship. But of course, at this point in the music video, we don't have the lyrics yet. So I think it could be very, very widely applied. Seeing just that tiny bit of water left over at the bottom, it like guts me just a little bit inside. I never want humans to feel this way. It feels really lonely.
Now maybe did I mean to treat you bad, but I did it anyway. And then maybe
Yeah.
some would say your life was sad, but you lived it anyway. And so maybe your friends that stand around you watch you crumble as you fall down to the ground. And then someday your friends that stand beside as you were flying, oh, you were flying out so high.
I think it might just be an effect of the mic. We're going to come back here to where he begins and talk about his enunciation, though, because it's really, really specific and stylized.
Anyway,
Oh.
you bad, but I did it anyway. And then maybe
So when he says maybe, this last vowel is just an E vowel for most people. But we're getting a little off glide essentially that sounds like a shadow of yeah, maybe, yeah, maybe. It's fascinating. He's adding extra vowels to the single vowel that's there.
But I did it anyway. And then
Maybe it does feel reminiscent of styling from Chris Cornell or Eddie Vedder.
but I did it anyway. And then
He does this multiple times too.
some would say a life was saved.
Similar thing here. So basically, we're getting a lot of Y glides that are added to the enunciation. So sad is the word. Sayed is what he actually sings.
Some would say a life was saved.
Sayed. It doesn't even go to a really an open vowel, the way that you would hear somebody singing metal lean into the brightness of an Instead, the mouth is a little bit more closed. There's less space to open into that vowel. And then we have a y to change the pitch.
Some would say a life was saved, but you lived it anyway. And so maybe
There it is again, maybe.
your friends that stand around you watch you crumble as you fall down to the ground.
That was interesting too.
Crumble.
Bow. Crumble. There's so many little details here about the enunciation that are very, very specific. And keep in mind that they are from Seattle at this point, right? So there shouldn't be any really strong regionalized accent. I grew up in Washington State. It was Central Washington State, Wenatchee, and sometimes I have a slight Midwestern accent that sneaks in. Maybe it comes from Canada. But that probably has to do with the fact that Eastern Washington is a little more akin to the Midwest than really the Western side, but very, very, very close as far as any sort of enunciation of words is concerned. So all of these little shifts here, that I believe that that's done on purpose. I don't think that that's a natural thing. That's a stylization, a choice, not just a this is the way I speak.
Your friends that stand around you watch you crumble.
So crumble, we would normally have an L, which is the tip of your tongue lifting up to the roof of your mouth. Bull. It's actually a very, very difficult sound to make for a lot of people in learning English. L's are hard. L's are very different among different languages. One of the more difficult consonants to figure out, depending on what language you're speaking in. He rounds it. He gives it almost like a crumble, almost like a OW idea. I'm not even sure that the tip of his tongue connects to the roof of his mouth.
Your friends that stand around you watch you crumble.
Crumble. Whoa. It's almost like we get more of a W at the end than an actual L. Crumble.
Your friends that stand around you watch you crumble as you fall down to the ground. And then someday your friends that stand beside as you were flying. Oh, you were flying oh so high. But then someday people look at you, they're what they call their own, they watch you suffer. Yeah, here you're going home.
I love the emotion in that
Someday
part.
we could take our time to brush the leaves aside so you can reach us. Hey, but you left me far behind. Now, didn't mean to treat you so bad. But I did it anyway, now I'm saying but some would say you left with what you had, but you couldn't tell the pain down now.
Wow. That was a nice outburst of sound. A little grit in there too, a little distortion. Got a little edge to it. I was a bit surprised by how much his voice grew. It definitely gained some more weight and substance to it when it went to this upper part. It didn't actually lean out. I mean, it felt like to me that the voice would naturally lean out, and instead it just blossomed essentially as it went up. Also, he has so much fun with that Y glide in one of those parts. I feel like I was some sort of soothsayer. I was foretelling that there was going to be this awesome Y, yeah, in the chorus, which I think that was the chorus, right? We'll check it out again.
Oh, you were flying out so high, but then
I went back way too
people
far,
look
sorry.
at you. They're what they call their own, they watch you suffer.
Like right there's this vulnerability in his sound, and it starts to get just a tiny bit thinner as it's going up. So it sounds like it might almost do this sort of point, and instead it actually did this, almost like an hourglass. That tells me he has a lot left over on top, and he was actually just keeping the sound in this first part really, really lean and focused.
Yeah, here you're going home.
Right?
And someday we can take our time.
Yeah, that's a very focused sound, knowing his voice better now. There was that repetitive wise, may, yay. Wow, that's one of the things I think his voice just loves is a yeah sound. There's all kinds of reasons a person's voice might be drawn towards that sound. I'd be curious to hear if in other songs he's introduced extra yes as well. But one of the reasons that it can be just really good for a singer to play around with, not only is there a Y in the word maybe, but a yeah sound, it gets the base of your tongue up higher, and it helps lift it so that the root of the tongue isn't pressing down on the larynx. That can be extremely, extremely healthy for your vocal efficiency. You don't want this massive muscle pushing down on this area where your phonation is being created, where that pitch is being created. So it can be very, very useful to use yes. I love them in warm-ups and in exercises for people. If that's why he added it here, and it's not just because it's a really cool sound, I don't know, but it definitely seems like something that feels like it's built into his voice.
Someday we can take our time to brush the leaves aside so you can reach us. Hey, but you left me far behind.
That looks like fun. Yay. That's such a tease. I hope that this chorus is longer later. I know sometimes in song structure we'll have essentially half of a chorus that's introduced earlier and then a much longer one later, or just like a repetition of the chorus later. It was really exciting to hear his voice get up that high. And it made me feel like, oh no, when it was quieting down again. I was like, I'd really love more. But I think we still have some more story to get to, which is what the verses are for. So let's keep going.
Couldn't share the pain while she suffered. Now maybe could have made my own mistakes, but I live with what I've known, and then maybe we might share in something great. Won't you look at where we've grown? Won't you look at where we've grown? And then someday comes tomorrow holds sense of what I feel for you in my mind. As you trip for fire line, and that cold day when you lost control. Shame you left my life so soon. You should have told me. Hey, but you left me far behind. Not me.
I wanted to take that whole verse in a little bit more and hear how he was relating the story and just listen to the lyrics a little bit closer. I like the way that some of these lyrics feel broad and like they can relate to so many different situations. They're really questioning, right? Continually lingering on the word maybe. I'm actually surprised that the song is called Far Behind and not Maybe, because it's so centered around maybe and this question of, did I do the right thing in this situation? Should I have made another choice? Definitely, there's a lot of times in here where there's treating a person badly, which I think is never a good choice. You should always treat a person with respect, even if it's in a breakup, I think. Um, but sometimes we're just not very capable of that early in life, especially. So I'm sure that it feels like a lot of regret in here. I like there's general things that a lot of people can relate to. Maybe I could have made my own mistakes. I think everyone can relate to that. But then there was this really beautiful specificity at one point talking about that cold day when you lost control. And it gave this incredible feeling of, oh yeah, I'm a part of this story. I'm a part of this story. Oh, there's also something really specific that has me questioning what exactly happened in his story. I think that combination of general makes it really easy to relate to, but then the extra little tidbits make you want to dive a lot deeper into what the song was really written about. It's very, very intriguing. And then to go with it all, there's just a lot of vulnerability in his sound, a lot of focus down here, which is in the lower part of his range, actually. But surprised to discover that partway through the song. A lot of focus and a lot of breadth of expression in the voice, even though it is a little lower in the range. Go back just a little bit. Like that. Oh, there's a little cry in there. Beautiful.
Shame you left my life so soon. You should have told me. Hey, but you left me far behind.
That's so satisfying.
Didn't mean to treat you so bad. Oh, but I did it anyway. And I'm mad. Some would say you left with what you had. Oh, but you couldn't share the pain. No.
I was still wanting it to like double. I wanted that chorus to be twice as long. There's something so satisfying about that emotion, feeling like it finally gets let loose there. Right? I think that's happening partly because we have some distortion on the sound. Distortion sound like it sounds like it's being created in the upper part of the vocal tract. So to me, it doesn't sound like it's being created at the vocal folds, which is good. We always love it when it's in a different spot because from all we've seen, we think that means it's going to be a little bit more sustainable over time. But it just sounds at the same time like it's ripping his throat apart. With all of this pent up emo energy. We're like so ready for that unleashed moment. And then it leads into a guitar solo. And I gotta say, normally I'm like, yeah, let's hear where the guitar takes it. But I really, really wanted that chorus to be twice as long and then have a guitar solo this time. But I'll let the guitar solo have a chance. I did like where that guitar solo went. It felt like it took it to an even a little bit more chaotic zone. And then when his voice just came back in here, it felt like it was really falling apart. So it worked. Would it have worked with still having a second chorus in there? I think so. But ultimately, like respect to the band. Well, I might have personally been wanting that at that moment. I don't know that other people wanted that at that moment. And and they have so much more experience releasing hits than I do. So, like, I'll give them the credit. It was their decision, and I appreciate it. It still works great, and it actually sets the guitar solo up to take us somewhere wild and crazy. So those little pop off top screams, they sound almost like little metal fry screams. I hate the word fry to describe that scream. So let's just talk about it as upper constriction. Really, we do have some pitch in there, and that sounds to me like pitch that's made on very thin vocal folds, maybe even just slipping into an upper register and then adding some distortion on top. Those kinds of screams, I even though when you see them in the video, it looks like he's really changing his mouth shape a lot. That's definitely sort of a code switching where he's flipping back and forth between the scream and a normal singing voice. Though they sound crazy, I've seen them and with multiple singers made in a way that actually is super minimal effort. You're thinking, "Oh my gosh, is he bleeding every time he makes that sound?" The answer is no. Otherwise, when he flips back into his regular singing, it wouldn't be as clean as it is. But also the quick flip back and forth. I've heard some people describe it as a trick. I think it can be done as a trick. I think there are other ways to make it a lot more weighty and like make it feel in the vocal tract like it is more of a breaking of the heart. But I'm not sure that that's always a good idea. If you're a singer and you're working on those things, I'd encourage you to look for how to make the sound with the minimum amount of effort, but allow that emotion then to carry it in a performance. Figure it out technically in your practice room. In the practice room, you should also figure out how things shift when you add emotion to it, and then just let the emotion carry it all in a performance. So check this out. His mouth goes wider, but it doesn't seem like we're getting any popping out of the veins there. He's not having to brace down super low with his support to make this sound. It seems to me like it's just a quick flip. He does move everything more to a forward resonance in the vocal tract. So the tongue tends to go a little bit further forward. The lips spread out so you get a little bit more teeth. So basically, we're shifting to more forward resonance that probably goes better with that particular little scream. It works really well. Interesting. In this part in particular, I hear more of that hard rock influence, especially Robert Plant. It feels like, in repeating some of these words, especially, and some of the pitches, there's this invitation to have a little bit more exploration with the sound and have a little more exploration in how much it's actually pitched versus hollered. Uh, you get this sense of improvisation starting to happen. Like maybe there's a little jazz background in there that it's inviting him just to explore and expand upon the idea that he's already set forth. Is this why it's post-grunge? Side note I'm not really sure why this isn't just grunge. and it's considered post-grunge. My mind is still a little bit mesmerized by that distinguishment. It's in Seattle. It was released in 1994. Why is this not just grunge? Or is it that the band is considered post-grunge overall because they really started up at this time and got their first big hits and then continued to go on much longer? Let me know in that live premiere chat or in comments why this is post-grunge and not just grunge. Right there, got a little Robert Plant. Each time he said saying left me far behind, it was a tiny bit different. And that tells me we didn't have too much pitch correction or adjustment. A lot of people will try to make things perfect today. And it was very much left raw and unperfect in that moment. I just looked up the difference according to Google AI between grunge and post-grunge, and it talks some about just having a more polished sound, a little bit more produced sound, and that also post-grunge interwove a few more elements from hard rock. That does make a lot of sense. I hear, like, with grunge, there tended to be just like a slightly more garage band kind of feel, and this feels like it was more for the radio. So I get that, and that's really interesting to find out and be able to compare, which I love doing on this channel. I love learning more about music with you. I love analyzing the voice like this and talking about the emotions and the impact of the songs as well. So thank you so much for being here with me and falling a little more in love with music every day. If you'd like to see some grunge analysis so you can compare, check out this playlist over here. And once again, may you fall more in love with music every day. Mwah!